Welcome to our presentation titled, Between the Grid and the Rhizome. Today, we will map the shifting boundaries where modern science, postmodern philosophy, and the topology of thought intersect, exploring how we structure our understanding of the world. Our conceptual framework rests on four topological spaces defined by two primary axes: the spectrum between science and philosophy, and the divide between modernity and postmodernity. On the modern side, we find royal science and molar philosophy, which emphasize clear, distinct laws and absolute definitions. Moving toward the postmodern, we encounter minoritarian science and molecular philosophy, which embrace ambiguity, fluidity, and the exploration of singularities. The crucial threshold between these two worlds is defined by the concept of molecularity. While the molar approach relies on analytic reductionism favoring the fixed, the identifiable, and the distinct, the molecular approach invites a synthetic holism. It views reality as fluid, continuous, and inherently ambiguous. Materialism itself undergoes a transformation across these domains. We begin with reductive materialism in modern science, which focuses on the physically measurable. This evolves into non-reductive materialism, which respects complex, unreducible interactions, and finally reaches expressive materialism in philosophy, where we engage with the virtual dimensions beyond quantitative measurement. This divergence leads to two distinct scientific modes. Royal science, rooted in the modern, seeks extensive quantities and absolute laws through theorematic deduction. In contrast, minoritarian science, or postmodern science, explores intensive quantities and continuous variation, focusing on problematic methods that highlight singularities and unique differences. As our systems grow in complexity, we must shift our focus from linear causality to complex emergence. Royal science typically follows a predictable A to B to C path. However, minoritarian science recognizes that true reality often arises from the complex, nonlinear interactions of parts, resulting in an emergent property that cannot be explained by simple principles alone. Our traditional view of the rational subject was shattered by three key thinkers. Marx, Nietzsche, and Freud each deconstructed the Cartesian and Kantian fixed subject. By exposing how ideology, the will to power, and the virtual unconscious drive human experience, they effectively unmasked the rational consciousness as a mere construct. This transition forces a re-evaluation of the subject. Where modern thought posited a fixed, rational entity grounded in clear reality, postmodern philosophy presents a deconstructed subject. This version is in a state of continuous mutation, defined not by rational stability, but by interpretation, desire, and the fluid nature of the virtual unconscious. The history of philosophy can be categorized by these two impulses: analytic reductionism and synthetic holism. The analytical tradition, spanning from Plato to modern philosophy of language, seeks to meta-analyze foundational principles. Conversely, the synthetic tradition, featuring thinkers like Spinoza, Hegel, and Deleuze, strives for a creative synthesis of the whole. It is critical to note that isolating either pole leads to intellectual pathology. Excessive modernity risks descending into the rigidity of fascism through narrow-minded scientism. Conversely, excessive postmodernity, if stripped of all structural grounding, risks dissolving into nihilism. Both extremes fail to account for the necessary balance between structure and fluidity. True progress requires the harmonization of analysis and synthesis. Philosophy's role is not to force a binary choice, but to contemplate the relationship between science and philosophy. By balancing the finite data of analytical thought with the infinite creativity of synthetic variation, we can move beyond these extremes and achieve a more comprehensive understanding of reality.